Hi, my name's Jennifer LeBeau and I'm a realtor here in Philadelphia's Main Line. This is the fifth in my video series, Home Buying 101. And it's the one nearest and dearest to my heart because this one is about choosing an agent. So when you go to find a real estate agent, the very first thing I'd recommend, and what most people I think do, is ask trusted family, friends, neighbors, coworkers, anybody that you know if they have a realtor that they would refer you to. They don't even need to have recently moved. They may know somebody who they just think would be a great fit for you in terms of what they're like as a person. A little bit better if somebody has actually used somebody recently for a transaction. So it's great to ask people what their experiences have been and collect some names that way. That's definitely what I would recommend to begin with, is getting a personal recommendation. Beyond that, there are, in my opinion, a few really important things to consider. The first is probably an agent's familiarity with the area that you're looking in. Now, sometimes if you're really new to the process, you may not even have an area defined, so that part can be tricky. But I find that most of the time people have at least a general idea of which communities that they're interested in. So first find out if the agents that you're speaking to have done a decent amount of business in those areas. Are they familiar with the township policies, with the neighborhoods, whether there are swim clubs around, how far it is to the nearest grocery store, that kind of thing. You want to work with someone who's familiar with the community. Then you want to make sure the person has a certain amount of experience and or expertise. I don't want to suggest that if an agent doesn't have a ton of experience, you shouldn't use him or her. Then nobody would ever get a break in the business. I remember when it was my first year, I found that very frustrating when people would say, yeah, you seem great and hungry and like you'd work really hard, but we want somebody with a little bit more experience. So that's kind of a double-edged sword. You, as the buyer, do want someone who's kind of been around the block and has seen some of the negotiation snafus or hidden problems that have come up and can safeguard you against some of those things. On the other hand, sometimes people who don't have that much experience, especially if they're working under someone else, can be fine too. Just, it's something to keep in mind, the experience level. And the expertise is similar to experience, but not identical. Sometimes someone who hasn't been at it that long just does a really good job, pays a lot of attention, and focuses on one neighborhood and really knows everything there is to know about it. Next thing is responsiveness. I end up inheriting clients sometimes from agents whom have not been responsive enough for their client's taste. So you need to gauge how important it is to you to get a phone call back within 2 hours, 4 hours, 24 hours when you reach out to your agent. Is the person organized? If when you speak to that agent, he or she seems distracted or doesn't have the information at fingertips or isn't sure where things are, doesn't really seem like they've got it together, that might be a red flag. How organized is that person? Is he or she on time to appointments? Does he provide you with the paperwork for the individual homes you're seeing? Has he mapped out the route if you're going to go see 4 homes, or is he kind of all over the road not knowing where he's going next? Being organized in this business is really important for the client. Similarly, attention to detail. You got to be careful, especially when it comes to preparing an offer, making sure that the dates of the offer are stuck to. A real estate agreement of sale is a legally binding document, and there are dates in there, and you as the buyer need an agent who's paying attention to those things so that you're protected against things like not having responded to an inspection in writing by the date that is decreed on the agreement. That can really hurt you. So you need someone who's organized and is paying attention to those details and is thorough. The last thing is availability. Similar to responsiveness, often I work with clients who have been unhappy working with agents who are part of a large, very well-known team, because sometimes an agent has just so many clients that even if she's responsive, oh yes, I got your email, yeah, but I can't take you to see that house for 4 days because I have all these other clients. So pay attention to how busy the agent is with other people, because you don't want to be 56th in line. What I think may be the most important aspect of choosing an agent is the trust connection piece. So you're going to be working with this person on a very big ticket item, but also a very personal item. This is going to be your home. So I think it's important to work with someone who definitely doesn't have to be just like you, but somebody who understands what's important to you and someone you feel that you can trust and connect with, someone that gets you. So you need to find someone you're comfortable with. Now, some people are more comfortable with someone, an agent who is formal, analytical, doesn't offer an opinion unless asked. Other people want someone who is less formal, who they feel they can connect with and really get on the same wavelength with, who is more intuitive, maybe reads their body language, doesn't necessarily only wait for them to speak to gauge their reaction to a certain home, maybe offers those opinions even when they're not sought. So you have to find someone you're comfortable with, and I do think that's probably the most important thing. In order to do this, I'd recommend that you reflect on any real estate experiences you've had in the past, whether you were buying, you were selling. When you've had exposure to an agent, pay attention to which things you liked and which things you didn't. And think about those when you are selecting an agent, and ask questions so you can determine if somebody is a good fit for you. So the bottom line is your agent is not only advising you, but also representing you in the process of finding, negotiating, and settling on a new home. And there are a lot of things that can go wrong. So make sure you feel that you are able to trust this person to respect and understand your perspective, and that they take their role very seriously. So that's my 2 cents on guidelines in choosing an agent. I hope it's been helpful, and I thank you for watching.